Alrighty, hello, beautiful people. This will be my second time trying to stream, or first time streaming, second time trying to record some videos. So let's see how this goes, and hopefully things record. Shazam. If I remember where I last left off, it is with the idea of going into some sort of cafeteria or dining hall, being introduced to other people. So, should be interesting. As a reminder, Raging Loop is some sort of psychological horror game recommended to me by my friend. So, at the dining hall. Good. My memory serves me a tad bit correctly. So, as we're entering, we laughed a little and past the curtain. With this new character, welcome. Oh. The inside was as aged as the outside, but it looked well maintained. Is he a visitor, Chiemi-chan? The hostess-looking lady asked. Though somewhat aged and fatigued, she was definitely beautiful. Again, I feel the first part was unnecessary. I forget how judgmental this character is, but it took me 2 seconds to remember. There were two others beside her. One was a lady in her 70s or 80s. She was probably the one I saw this morning. The silhouette matched, so obviously all old people look alike. The other was a man who seemed a bit younger than her, probably in his late 60s, and pretty fit for his 60s. Though they were just sitting there, there was a menacing aura about them. So back to the ageism. I'll introduce him. This is Haruaki Fusaishi. I found him at Saranaga last night and took him into my care. Their reactions were powerful, all at once, simultaneously. The lady gasped while the two elders rose to their feet with alarm. I just want to take a second to look at the old lady's face to the left. I'm not sure she's having like a heart attack or something, but she definitely not okay. The tension that was already there the moment I walked in reached its peak. I know you're concerned, but this is just a coincidence. Unlike that little girl, of course, every horror story has to have a little girl. Unlike that little girl, he knows exactly where he came from. He went on an old path of his bike and crashed. It's actually really sad. And pathetic. And stupid. That's why I think we should help him leave and get him the F out of here. What do you think? After saying all that, Jimmy fell silent. The ball was in their court now. So obviously this is all a game. Now that is troubling. The lady voiced a harmless opinion, careful not to upset the old people. It was pretty clear who was in charge. They were elders, in more ways than one. Again, a little bit effed up. Chie-chan, why did you even go to Saranaga at night? I had a hunch, I guess. You know what happened. I couldn't fall asleep. Then he's gotta be a Yomibito. Shut up, Teba. Wow. It's the silencing of women. The sexism is strong. From the conversation, it was pretty clear that something had happened before I arrived here. And again, why is your face stuck like that? It was probably similar to what happened with me. She'd mentioned some little girl. Perhaps there was a child who wandered in here like I did? I'm so glad we have the very astute main character. Deductive reasoning right there. According to Jimmy, the Saranaga Rapids were a place of significance around here. It was a place from which dead people came to life or whatever. Let's see, if I'm making a prediction, is the main character already dead? Are they all spirits? Are they all in purgatory or hell? I don't know. Oh, so this Tay must have been the lady that Boyd mentioned. And the Yomibito must have been a term for the dead who came from there. Obviously. Apparently, the primary goal here was convincing these elders to approve helping me. Must be very difficult for people who are terrified of you to try to convince them how to get you kicked out. Where are you from? The old man's voice put my derailed mind back on track. I'm from Tokyo. How old are you? 24. What's your zodiac sign? Scorpio. Older than she, eh? He chuckled. Ha 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 ha. I immediately realized he was taking a jab at me for hiding behind a younger girl. Nice to meet you. I'm Haruaki Fusaishi. Like she said, I wandered into town after my bike crashed. Right, the bike crash where he drove 4 hours knowing he didn't have any civilization and was running out of gas. Beautiful. Magnifique. I seem to be a total outsider here, so I didn't want to speak out of turn. That's why I asked her to talk on my behalf, but I think I should say something at least. I won't trouble you any longer than I have to, so I would be grateful if you pardon my brief stay. And please don't blame her for helping me. Hey, Haruaki-san. I think she went against this village's customs by helping me out. The students also seemed surprised. I am an adult. I am a full-grown 24-year-old adult who knows how taxes work, has my own mortgage, bought my own house, and I'm willing to take responsibility for any trouble I cause as best I can. So please, put up with me. I bowed my head. He seems alright to me, Teiba. Don't know about that. Look at his hair, all colored brown, filled with youth and vigor. You know, things that we lack. Shit, I forgot I didn't look very presentable to more traditionalist people. Damn me and my brown hair. Outsiders all like that. Just help them get out of here, I says. Do what you want. I guess I got their half-hearted approval to leave their presence because they don't want me here. Haruaki. Haru, eh? Like my granddaughter. What a mess. Oh, so that means you're... Yep, he's Haru-chan's grandpa, Kanzo Makishima. A pleasure. I didn't know what else to say, because, you know, this is a random old man, and I'm not sure I like him very much. Haru-chan and I won't have the best of terms so far, and I believe Haru-chan was like the very aggressive girl who's defensive and potentially a love interest. Shit. Anyways, it seemed like we were past the difficult part. Drove into Saranaga, eh? No, actually. I asked for directions at a convenience store, went down a side road, and ended up losing control on an unpaved section. So yes, the answer is actually yes. Actually. And then you're weaning. Saranaga. Why didn't you turn around? A very good question. He wasn't impressed by my choice of actions, and neither was I. It just hit me that I had no idea how much time passed between the crash and my meeting with Chiemi. Takumi and I'll go see it. Takumi's working in the field. Again, the outraged look. She's like, what are you talking about? It's to get it's to get him to leave. Leave the boy out. Let the boy out. You never change, Kan-chan. And then you have someone with brown hair. What do you know? What's going on here? We're joined by a new inhabitant. Not a new person, simply a new inhabitant. Chiemi, who's that guy? Oh, Takumi-chan. Oh, so he was the one who saw in the field. Wow, he sure looked big from up close. All that field work was good for his muscles, his chest, his biceps, his triceps, his pectorals. And from what I could tell, he was in his 30s. Pretty good for his 30s. As Chiemi introduced me and told him of my situation, I found out his name, Takumi Muro. Man, that must have been hard. So, old man Kanzo, He'll pick it up. Thought so. Hey, Ba-chan, wait a bit. While I help the guy, I already spread the stuff in the fields, so I'll know the grass I'm in.
It's a good thing.
Ha 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 ha. It ain't a big deal. I'll be so quick you'll think nothing happened.
Good to hear.
I don't know why she's becoming my new Mickey. Nothing, eh? Boy? Huh, me? What is it? Yeah, Yasumizu. It ain't a good place for people like you. Brandishes a knife. Huh? It was the place that wasn't good? Not my presence here? We don't like outsiders here, and outsiders should let sleeping dogs lie. Because I was definitely inquiring. So you should bury and leave. What's the plan? So it's settled? Yep. Thanks, Takumi-chan. Very kawaii. I was beginning to understand how things worked here. People talk with one another. Whoa. Although Kanzo Makishima's voice was the most powerful here, it was also important to get Tae-san's approval. Really? He felt like the old man voice was the power authority? Pretty sure it was the old ladies. Kanzo was probably in charge of tackling the settlement's practical problems, while Tae-san provided spiritual and moral direction. And when it was time to be civilized, Takumi-san came and convinced Tae-san, acting as an intermediary. It looked like Takumi-san himself understood such subtleties, and she immediately seemed to rely on this side of him.
Here you go.
Alright, I forgot to bring her lady. That lady brought some tea to the old folk. Perfect timing. Oh, Kaori-san. Looking forward to getting some food. So that was her name. Again, beautiful, beautiful statement. Sure, I'll make a lot. It'll be a reward for waking up early and working hard. Hey, I'm doing it for Yasumizu, Ba-chan. I knew. It's nothing really.
Oh, hi.
Is this Lori? Or is that another? They looked about the same age too. Oh damn. I'm so sorry for her. I wish the artist drew her maybe like similar to how they drew him. Would you like something to eat? She's probably been poisoned now. No. Thank you. I already ate. Then here's some tea. I can also get you a light snack if you'd like. What would you like? Some onigiri? That would be... Sorry, can we borrow the phone? We need it, quick. Oh? Sure, but why not have some tea first? Drink the tea. The tea that's poison. The poison tea. The poison tea for you. Your poison tea. Thanks, but it's urgent. Let's go, Haruaki-san. His face is like, what the fuck? Sure. It didn't look like I could say no, even though I clearly could. We went up the nearby stairs to do what seemed like a living space. At the end of the creaky hallway, there was a black rotary phone, a rarity in this day and age. This is the only phone in all of Yasumizu, by the way. So that's gonna break. Seriously? Oh, and not a single mobile service provider works in this area. Really? Wait, who do you want me to call anyway? Road service, insurance, stuff like that. I like her. She's very practical. She's like, we don't really want you here. Like, call a cab. And family if you have to. Oh, that made sense. Hell, I should have been the one to say that. Yeah, I think he's a graduate student, right? He really should. Like I said, it'd be best if you left as soon as possible. So you should use everything you have. Because outsiders aren't welcome here? No shit. Yep. And I shouldn't pry any further, huh? Haruaki-san, I see you catch on quickly. That's good. I'm glad that the 5 different people who told you you need to leave finally influenced you. But you also seem really curious. A bit too curious. It shows, huh? Of course it does. Honestly, though, you should avoid sticking your nose into things. Or else. Because we'll part ways soon anyway. Exactly. You catch on. That's kind of sad. I was literally thinking this morning how I have to run away from your apartment because you're a serial killer, but now I'm sad to depart from you. Oh, you want my contact info? If you're willing to give. Yeah, that makes you guy number 53 on the list. Oof. Damn, if that ain't a letdown. Well, at least she keeps the list. We still went on to exchange our info. I could only hope that being number 53 wasn't as big a problem as it sounded, even though it definitely was. Anyway, I'd still like to know the reason why me being here is such a big deal. I am suddenly curious, as the plot dictates. I don't recommend it. But why? He's so whiny. Because it'd make me upset. You don't like it here? Yeah, I actually hate it. You seem to get along with the people, though. That's just how it looks. I was a huge problem child, so I feel kind of awkward around the older folk here. And there's tons of things you can't see right away. Oh, but I can't say I actually hate the people. Just this place. This haunted place. With that, I decided to stop prying about this place any further. I'd back away before she came to hate me. Oh, can I ask one thing, though? Yeah. Ooh, gutsy. Go ahead. Do you like that Takumi Muro guy? Because, that's definitely an appropriate question to ask. What? Me? Like him? Yeah. No way. Takumi Michan's cool and all, but he's too rugged and over a decade older than me. He's out of my strike zone. Wow, more ageism. Unbelievable. And he's always had eyes for Kaori-san. It sure felt like it. They married or something? The only two 30-year-olds, I'm assuming, have any relationship? Romantic? Sexual? Nope. Kaori-san's a widow. Well, that seemed complicated. That aside, Chiemi had been acting a bit strange. Why had she dragged me away from the tea? It seemed so awkward, too. Assuming she hadn't been jealous of Kaori-san and simply didn't want her to charm me, because, that's every female's goal is to charm me, it would mean that she hadn't wanted me to drink the tea. Why? Also, why'd she feed me cup ramen if I could have just gotten food at the dining hall? Looking too deep into things was part of my nature. Because I'm a very deep thinker. I'm actually a very smart individual, 200 IQ, but no one thinks so for some reason. Though things are never as bad as I assumed. I went on to call my insurance company, where I found out something. Apparently, this village was hundreds of kilometers away from the nearest service station, meaning I was ineligible for the normal service and had to pay extra. And the extra was no small amount, too. It actually went over 100,000 yen. $1,000. Pay it up. Also, I could have avoided this if I'd taken a more expensive plan. This was all my own fault for not taking the bike salesman's advice. Shit. Double shit. I said I would consider it and hung up. Then I went back to the dining hall. Why? What? What are your alternatives? What are you considering? What is going on? Huh? Where did everyone go? The customers had changed completely. Tei-san, Kanzo-san, Takumi-san were gone now. They were replaced by a caricature of a juvenile delinquent. Oh, okay. Again, just your number every day. Ooh. The fuck are you? He shouted at me. He seemed like he was trying too hard. He then slammed his bowl and chopsticks on the table and stood up to intimidate me. I'm Haruaki Fasaishi. This is the 8th time I've introduced myself. The hell? You want to go? Goodness. Yoshitsugu, you don't talk like that to someone you just met. Shut up, you old head. The hell's this asshole? Haruki-san, a traveler who crashed his bike. Boy, was that introduction half-assed. I like how he's complaining about the girl introducing him and not the guy pressing him. Let me introduce her to you. This is Kaori and her second son, Yoshitsugu-kun. Yasunaga-kun's the first. Huh? Yasunaga-kun? The guy you introduced me to this morning? The guy with the glasses? Yeah, they may not look at it at first, but they're right, don't you think? The Oridas. What an unpredictable family. Stop talking about bro, you ugly bitch. Call me that all you want. I'm confident in my popularity. Ooh, look at her smug and look at those Kardashian lips of his. They are juicy. And from what I'd seen, that confidence was well justified. Fuck off back to the city, you idiot. Stupid dumbass. I think I've uncovered my personal character in this story. Oh no, Haruaki-san, I don't think I can argue with that. What? You were an idiot? Alrighty then. Stupid. You're stupid. Oh, how mean. Join me, Yoshitsugu. Stupid. Huh? What the hell? Don't talk shit about she and me. Dumb fuck. You're pretty conflicted, aren't you? Sorry, Chimi-chan, I was just playing. Wow, one nice reversal after another. It takes quite a man. Oh, it's the girl who's saying that. It takes quite a man to surprise me. I just don't want to lose to you, that's all. You didn't miss something? Boy, did I wish. Stop it, Yoshitsugu-kun. You're already late. Go change and go back to school. And dye your hair while you're at it. You know how the elders like brown and blonde hair? Shut up, I ain't going. And I ain't gonna wear a shirt either. Mumbling something, the kid walked out of the dining hall, leaving his half-full bowl behind. I'm sorry about that. How embarrassing. It's really good boy. Deep, balls deep down, though. Yeah, I could actually see that. Somewhat. By the way, where are Makishima-san and Muro-san? They went to pick up your bike. Remember what they said 10 minutes ago? Oh no, I gotta hurry after them. Hey, if they know where it is, they'll be fine, don't you think? Well, you just have to set it on neutral and push, but I'm not sure they'll know how to do it, even though, I'm the one who crashed it and since I have experience, but, and I, of all people, should help them. They need me. They might go about it the wrong way. If that's all, then you shouldn't bother. What? Because you're an outsider. I wouldn't suggest spending too much time alone with them. They didn't seem that bad to me. That's because they're adults. Don't assume everyone here is as welcoming as me. I'm an exception. You might get along fine, but you might also set them off. This place is already far from normal. Don't risk making it worse. She's right. I say, they insisted you leave it to them, so that's what you should do. Stay and mind your own fucking business. Touché. You think so too? Yes, we've all said this. The men here are pretty serious about Yasumizu having its own way of doing things. I could somewhat understand that. A visitor should behave like one. Doing anything more would be uncalled for. It was an old-fashioned way of thinking, but this was an old-fashioned kind of place, for sure, bruh. Where do we wait then? At my place. Expected as much, but it still made me curious. Even more curious. Normally, you'd expect he'd sit around and drink some. He has too many expectations of what would go on. He's just kind of like a very needy, high maintenance guest. Maybe he should just listen. Normally, we'd sit around and drink some tea right here. Why don't we drink some tea? I really want tea all of a sudden for the plot. As we waited, Chiemi, casually but uncomfortably, told me several things. First, I found out that the people here in Yasumizu were a bit on edge right now. The reason for that was the fact that, excluding me, they had 3 whole outsiders here. I thought it was 2. I'd assumed this myself from what I knew so far, but apparently yesterday morning a little girl was found straying around the Saranaga Rapids. They couldn't even find out her name, let alone who her parents were, so they didn't know how to handle her. So they killed her. They buried her out back. She was really less of a problem child than I was. For now, one of the inhabitants was looking after her. Like I'd been told, the more superstitious inhabitants, Tay-san, why is he like subtweeting in his narration, saw her as a bad omen? Omen. I suggested leaving her to the police, but Chiemi didn't seem to think it was a good idea. It barely made sense to me, but if I were to believe her, things around here were such that not even the cops could do anything. But apparently the car insurance companies can, but not the cops. And apparently the remaining 2 outsiders were a pair of... Wait. So now there's 4 outsiders. There's me, there's the girl, and now there's the remaining 2. We're a pair of journalists gathering info for a magazine article. Unlike the little girl and I, they've come here via the normal route, through Kamifuji Yoshi, and therefore weren't considered a bad omen, or whatever. Still, even normal outsiders put the people here on edge. Through this talk, I also got some details about the area itself. Oh, wow. Wow. This is... Wow. What a visual. So we have the city coming... no, that's the path that enters there. Kamifuji Yoshi. If you go through the normal curving path of the mountain road, you get to Yasumizu, the town, where there's a pine tree, and a cliff, and a river if you go down, and the whole mountain itself is called Shinai. Interesting, very interesting. I don't even know if it's going to be important information or not. Yasumizu is a settlement part of an autonomous region called Fujiyoshi Village, or simply Fujiyoshi. It's also been in the map I've shown at the store. Fujiyoshi was split into 2 areas, Yasumizu and Kami Fujiyoshi. They were separated by a mountain. Going to Kami Fujiyoshi took about an hour by foot, 20 minutes by car on the winding but paved road. As a side note, the school the students went to was in Kami Fujiyoshi. Though these 2 settlements had ties so strong they shared customs and culture. Chiemi said the local seasonal events were quite unconventional. I asked her to elaborate, but all she would say was that Yasumizu had special meaning to Fujiyoshi. Okay. She was making me more suspicious than I wanted to be. This conversation wasn't nearly as exciting as the one we had last night, where I was objectifying her as a sex object and I was getting her drunk and saying she was a pervert. Not nearly as exciting. Well, at least I found out she didn't have a boyfriend right now. Of course, priorities. Very, very intriguing. Be a creep. It was nearly noon when Takumi-san came back, ending my waiting game. Side note, part 2, the door was fully open the entire time we waited. It was probably Chiemi's way of saying that nothing bad was happening here. Man, bikes sure are heavy, eh? I don't know why I turned the buff guy into Canadian, but here we are. Ain't as heavy as the boar caught last year. I really didn't expect it to just carry it here. Like, sure, there were 2 of them, but just how much mass did you have to haul a 200-kilogram piece of metal so easily? I don't know. The muscle. The unpaved road and the river made my sweet ride really damn muddy. How did you bring it up to the top? There's a pulley. We bring stuff up from the bottom every now and then. Takumi. Oh yeah. Now's not the time for that. Here, you think this thing's alright? It looks pretty damn wet. Very moist. Very, very moist. Really wet. I'm not sure. I'll check. I'll leave the rest to you then, old man. This took longer than I thought it would. It fine if I do the shopping tomorrow? I saw them off with a loud, "Thank you." Now then. Need help? I'll see what I can do by myself first. As a man. The worst part of the repairs was right at the beginning. I wanted to start by washing it, but that old lady, Tay Yamawaki was her full name, because I have to put that in parentheses here, got really mad. She didn't want any Saranaga mud on the ground here because it was corrupt or something. But this plaza was the only place with easy access to a water supply tap, so I did my best and convinced her to let me wash it as close to the edge as possible. Once it was clean, I could start checking what was wrong with it. It actually looked pretty good. Bent in places, sure, but the wash got rid of the bad sound the wheels made. The only problem was that both tires were flat. And it was a pretty big one. You didn't bring tools? Okay, now I feel like that was a dumb recommendation from her. Like, maybe not. No. Aren't you supposed to whenever you want a bike trip? Are you able to carry tools while you're riding a motorbike? I just thought I'd call road service and they'd do all the work. So unprepared. I have no excuse, honestly. I was having a moment when I went out. Didn't think things through. Ah, so you had a reason. A moment for leaving. Can I ask what happened? My girlfriend left. That seems like a lie. You? A woman attracted to you? Hell no. It wasn't. I drove 4 hours into nowhere because of a broken heart. Amen to that. Amen to that. But regardless, this might be a good place to end one recording since it's what, roughly 32 minutes. So let's